Bikini Bottom, home to jellyfish fields, the famous Krabby Patty, and our favorite sea creature, SpongeBob SquarePants. Now, lately, I've been going down a rabbit hole of SpongeBob theory videos here on YouTube, and it's honestly taken me so back because I just loved this show so much growing up as a kid. So when I started thinking about a concept for this video, I started reminiscing on some of the crazier episodes and just how bananas some of our favorite characters were acting. So crazy that their actions were actually criminal. So let's talk about it. First, we start with a disclaimer. Everything I share in this video is based on my own research, opinions, and perspective. This content is for informational and entertainment purposes only and should not be taken as fact without doing your own research. Alright, so today we're talking about the crimes of Bikini Bottom, and no character is off limits, including our lovable Sponge, who takes part in this first crime from Season 1's episode, Hall Monitor. SpongeBob is assigned hall monitor by his boating teacher, Mrs.Puff, but the power quickly goes to his head and he takes his patrolling to the streets of Bikini Bottom. He attempts to direct traffic, which results in a massive crash pileup, and then decides to go teach a couple a lesson for leaving their window open by acting as an intruder to scare them straight. Well, obviously, what else would a hall monitor do? His actions led to the local paper releasing news that a maniac strikes Bikini Bottom. Of course, they're talking about our lovable Sponge, who's oblivious to this, and decides he's going to take matters into his own hands and catch the maniac himself. At the same time, he recruits his best friend Patrick Star to help him go after the maniac. And Patrick actually talked to the police earlier that day, who showed him a picture of the maniac, and he didn't recognize that it was SpongeBob. Dang, SpongeBob, that's your best friend? So let's fast forward to nighttime. Patrick and SpongeBob split up to look for the maniac, and Patrick spots him. He hops on his walkie-talkie. SpongeBob, I see the maniac. He's under a street light. And SpongeBob starts freaking out because he too is under the street light. SpongeBob starts going crazy. He thinks the maniac is like right on top of him. He starts going through, starts hitting through buildings. He's running through the street. Eventually, bam, hits the wall of wanted flyers. He's lying there. A flyer falls. He sees it's him. Now, what SpongeBob did was impersonating a cop, and that is a real crime, and apparently it is as well in Bikini Bottom, because the police show up to arrest SpongeBob. But not before Mrs. Puff steps in. Mrs. Puff tells the police she takes responsibility for SpongeBob and his actions, so she gets arrested instead. Speaking of Mrs. Puff, our next crime surrounds her. In Season 2 episode No Free Rides, after endless failed boating tests, Mrs. Puff finally decides to pass SpongeBob for her own sanity. However, she quickly realizes her mistake as she realizes she just sent a horrible driver into the streets of Bikini Bottom. Then the mistake is further escalated by SpongeBob's parents buying him a car. So now Mrs. Puff is like, oh, So instead of taking responsibility and maybe taking the license back and saying she made a mistake like a normal boating teacher would, Mrs. Puff decides she's just gonna steal the car. She's just gonna steal SpongeBob's car. Now, Miss Girl, this ain't her first rodeo. You can tell she's done crime before. But while she's stealing the car, she's caught red-handed by SpongeBob himself, who doesn't realize it's Mrs. Puff because she's got a mask on. She's driving and socking his ass at the same time. She whooping him. But SpongeBob's not going to let her go without a fight. So they're going at it, and it all comes to a literal crash into a police car. Our episode ends with SpongeBob visiting Mrs. Puff in jail. But don't worry, she won't be there for long. SpongeBob talked to the warden, who agreed to let Mrs. Puff out early in exchange for free driving lessons. That ain't a bad deal in my opinion. Now everyone loves a good night out on the down with friends. Now, but let me ask you this. Have you and your friends ever committed a panty raid? In Season 3's episode, Midlife Crustaceans, Old Man Krabs is kind of going through it because he's starting to feel his age. At work, he overhears SpongeBob and Patrick talking about their plans for the night, and he asks if he can join, which they say, of course, and they take him to all the hot spots, including the wash, which is a laundromat. They hit up a kids arcade. Man, SpongeBob and Patrick are just pulling out all the stops, huh? But Krabs is obviously not amused. And Krabs starts heading home, but Patrick said, all right, but you're going to miss out on the panty raid. Now, this raid is basically them going into a woman's house and stealing her underwear, which is illegal. And a reminder that this is a kid show, but I digress. So the trio arrives to a house. They successfully retrieve the woman's underwear, so they're having a ball until she flips the lights on and she catches them red-handed. And you know who the woman is? Mr. Krabs' mom is the woman. So you just stole your mommy's underwear. But hey, Krabs is no stranger to committing crimes, because it seemed like he took the lead in this next crime. In season 3's episode, Nasty Patty, the health inspector stops by the Krusty Krab. Krabs orders SpongeBob to make one of everything on the menu and make it good for our health inspector. Oh, we gotta pass, guys. Like, the Krusty Krab, she's looking a little rough when it comes to the health codes. The health inspector eats all the dishes, but of course he needs just a plain Krabby Patty as the last meal to complete his inspection. Obviously, Krabs is like, we're going to prepare the best of the best for you. You wait here. We're going to the kitchen. So him and SpongeBob go to the kitchen, start prepping up that Krabby Patty. But in the background, all of a sudden on the TV, breaking news! There is an imposter passing as a health inspector in order to get free food. Free food? And if there's one thing we know about Krabs, he don't give nothing for free. So what does Krabs and SpongeBob decide to do? They're gonna mess around with this man. They're gonna make him the nastiest patty ever. When I tell you they started making this patty the nastiest thing ever, they added toenails, they added volcano sauce, which I'm assuming is like a super hot sauce, and then SpongeBob even drops it in the toilet. I'm gonna be sick. So they drop the nasty patty to the guy, and they head back to the kitchen because they're gonna watch it from the service window. And before the inspector can even put the patty in his mouth, a fly jumps in, and he starts choking on it. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Krabs are looking through the service window at this, and they didn't realize that the fly was the reason he was choking. They thought he was choking on how nasty the patty was. They didn't see the fly part. So he's choking, they're laughing, and then the health inspector drops down, and they're not laughing anymore. So they think they just killed a man. And all of a sudden, the newscaster comes back on the TV and says, the imposter has been caught. Anyone else who is not this man is a real health inspector. Like the one that's passed out on the floor. So what is Krabs and SpongeBob gonna do? They're like, call the cops, tell them what happened, this accident. No, we're gonna hide the body. Reminder that this is a kid show. So Sponge and Krabs grab the body, take him to a hill, and decide that they're going to bury him. Now, keep in mind, while SpongeBob is digging this hole, the inspector starts to wake up, but not for long, because SpongeBob throws a rock from the hole and it hits him. This health inspector is just not having a good day. All of a sudden, the police are rolling on by, and they ask Krabs and SpongeBob if they need a ride back to the Krusty Krab, which Mr. Krabs is like, hell yeah, I'll take a free ride. So they go to put their supplies in the trunk, but now that it's raining, the rain has washed up the body of the inspector, and he has now slid down the hill at their feet of the car. Krabs tells SpongeBob to throw the body in the trunk of the car. And SpongeBob's like, yeah, let me throw this dead body in the trunk. Yeah, cool. So they get back to the restaurant, and SpongeBob now tries to get the body through the back door of the restaurant, but it's locked. So he realizes, I gotta go through the front. So how does SpongeBob carry a dead body without anybody seeing it, you may ask? He stuffs the body in his hat. Yeah, I don't even know how that's physically possible either. But he does it. Now the inspector's body is chilling in the freezer. And you know what? The plan is looking pretty solid. It's looking pretty solid at this point. Until the police officers are like, yo, we gotta head out. Let me get a drink to go. But I want some ice in it. Mr. Krabs is like, You want ice? Ice from our freezer? Cool. No. And the officer's not having it. They're like, yeah, I want some ice. I'll just go grab it myself. So they start heading that way, and Krabs is freaking out. He's like, ice? You don't need ice. You don't need ice. He freaks out so much that he just ends up confessing that there is a dead body in the freezer. But when the police officers open the freezer, there's no one there. They even joke that the inspector must have became a zombie and walked out himself, to which the health inspector pops up and scares the hell out of them. Turns out he was still only concussed and ends up still passing the Krusty Krab. I wouldn't. I would have shut it down real quick. So that was just a few of the crimes that have occurred in Bikini Bottom. That was like surface level. Like there are so many more crazier episodes, to be honest with you. I could probably make so many more videos about the crimes of Bikini Bottom. And hey, maybe I will make another one if it's interesting enough and you want to see it. Let me know. I would love to hear your comments regarding this video and any suggestions you have for future topics I could yap about. If you prefer audio versions of the podcast, we are available on Spotify and Apple. Thank you guys so much for watching. Leave a like, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, and stay safe in that world because it's bananas.